Hello and welcome to this second virtual sheet music interview. My name is Fabrizio Ferrari and our guest today is Todd Ehle, joining us via Skype from Texas. Hello Todd, and thank you for joining us.
Hello Fabrizio, thank you for having me.
Todd is an associate professor of violin at the Del Mar College in Corpus Christi, Texas, where he has taught since 1999. But Todd is also known as Professor V on YouTube for his very popular violin lessons channel with hundreds of instructional videos and counting almost 4 million views since 2007. His channel is actually among the most famous YouTube channels on violin learning. Well, what to say, Todd? Congratulations. Looks you are really talented and famous violin teacher, which is great.
Thank you. That's an honor. I appreciate it. I think they call it micro fame, though. I haven't been recognized on the street yet. So.
Yeah, sure. And so my first natural question is how everything started. How did you get the idea to start a YouTube channel about violin lessons?
Well, one of my jobs at the college, Del Mar College, where I teach, is to recruit students. And I had an idea that I could make some instructional videos and then go out to the local schools and direct them towards these videos, because there's many, many more students than I could personally teach one-on-one instruction every day. So I had this idea, and I started making the videos, and right away people started paying attention, but they weren't the local kids. They were other people who then started asking me questions. How do I do this? How do I do that? And so I started responding to those videos or to those questions by making other videos. So my initial project was not very organized. It was bow hand, violin hold, and then I think they wanted vibrato. I mean, we jumped right to it. So it wasn't in order. So since then, I've gone back and tried to put an order system to it, which is on my website, toddehle.com, but not on the YouTube site. So you'll notice that things are a little chaotic if you're trying to navigate your way through.
I understand. It's probably been like a sort of work in progress, right?
Absolutely.
All the time. I understand. That's the way it usually goes on the internet. So since the time you started this project on YouTube, how your life actually has changed?
You know, my life actually changed before, and I think it was part of the reason I did this. About 6.5 years ago, I developed some real neck problems, and it's neck and shoulder, and it made it almost impossible for me to keep performing and really difficult to even practice. So one of the things I wanted to do was still be able to communicate with my students, and I made some videos, and part of it in the back of my mind was, let's get these things recorded so I can document what I know before I can't play at all. Because I was actually told by a doctor, he said, you need to go into administration and stop playing. So I did not take his advice, and I have, with therapists, actually been recovering some, and I'm playing more. But the videos changed my life only moderately. I would say at first I was on the computer a lot more because I was trying to answer questions.
I understand.
Finally, I gave up with that. It was too hard to answer so many specific questions. And then, you know, what's very easy to show is often very difficult when you write it out to give just the right information. So I finally blocked it so that they couldn't send me messages personally. They can still comment. People can comment, but
Sure.
I'm not accepting question after question.
I understand, even because by look at the numbers of subscribers you have, it would be probably really overwhelming.
Well, the night I did it, I think I checked my personal messages and there were 66 questions, and I just thought I have to stop at this point. So,
it's a lot, really.
Yeah,
it's a lot. And I was wondering, do you have any special, interesting or a music experience you got through your channel or you would like to share with us today?
I think if you want to, the funniest thing about the channel is when I created it, it certainly was just to have a username on YouTube. And I picked Professor V because I wanted something I would be able to remember. So I thought, well, I'm a professor of violin. It had nothing to do with the idea that I was going to teach. My friends, they make fun of me and call me Professor Five. So
I see, that's right. Yeah,
right,
that's
right.
right.
No, I have had some pretty fascinating emails from people, even in Iraq during the war. Some not soldiers, but someone trying to learn violin in Baghdad,
Really?
communicating with him
Amazing.
during the invasion. I mean, it was after the invasion, but it was, very touching to me that this person was just trying to do something so human and so important to me, and we were corresponding.
Sure,
so I've had a lot of things like that. So
wow, that's really amazing. Thank you.
It has been, yes.
Yeah, and so moving to a more general perspective, I'm sure that our audience would like to learn more about your philosophy of teaching. Would you like to tell us about that?
It has changed over the years, and of course I have many different types of students. I have very, very young students all the way through the college students. And to have one philosophy, at first I thought, well, that's impossible. But, in the end, I came up with, my goal is to inspire the love of learning. And I want to show that the process of learning is even more important than the final result.
I agree.
You can spend your whole life with this.
I agree with that completely. And do you plan to keep adding new videos to your YouTube channel for the years to come?
I haven't decided. The things that are there they came very easily for me, because it's information that I share with students every single day. Now, there are other things in my mind that I am sharing, but not all of it translates well into a 5-minute video. So yeah. I haven't really decided if I'm going to keep going. I don't want it to just be silly things.
I understand, even because, I don't know, I'm a violinist myself. I would be afraid to run out of topics.
Right, right.
After a while, after more than 100 video lessons you already did.
You can run out of great ideas, there's no doubt. No, I don't want to just throw things out there. I think that I need to be careful at this point and really think it through before I continue.
Yeah, sure, that sounds great to me. And so we all look forward to keep watching and learning from you, Todd. Thank you. For everyone interested to learn more, please visit www.virtualsheetmusic.com/interviews/L to find links to Professor L video lessons, to get in touch with him, and eventually to subscribe to his wonderful YouTube channel. Now it's time to move on with the questions we have been collecting in the past 3 weeks from our audience. We got, as usual, over 50 questions, and with the fact we let our audience vote for these questions, we could pick the most voted ones to ask to you today, Todd. So, of course, they are all questions about violin technique and violin learning, and as a violinist myself, I'm eager to hear your answers. So the first voted question is by Jose, who asks, is there a method for memorizing sheet music?
Well, I can't give you a method. I can just tell you what I do myself and how I instruct my students. And the first piece of advice is don't wait until you've learned a piece to begin memorization, because you will become very confident with the sheet music, and then when you try and wean yourself off, there's that sense of, oh, I cannot play it anymore. It's very disturbing. So I would say from the very beginning, if you have sheet music on your stand, you can play through it a couple times, then just do a measure, turn around and play that measure. Maybe play it 10 times so that you put it in your muscle memory, in your oral memory, turn around, look at it, put it in your visual memory. There are 3 types of memory. Then do the next measure, and then maybe you do the same process and then try and play the 2 together. So I break it into sections, maybe a measure at a time, maybe a phrase, a line, however your mind works. But think of them as train cars that you're coupling together, putting all these sections together. Now I mentioned the 3 types of memory. It's oral, what you hear, visual, what you see, and kinesthetic, which is your muscle memory. What does it feel like? So some people have very highly developed one of these or another. The sense of, say, visual memory is very strong, so they can look at the page, see it, and then you have maybe a photographic memory. Others really struggle with one of those, so then you want to try and learn it in more than one manner. I had a professor that used to say, if you can lay in your bed or sit in a chair and play through the entire piece just in your mind, know every shift, every bowing, then you really have it. So there's some ideas, but I try and do it just a tiny bit at a time so I'm not overwhelmed. One measure, turn around, that's not too much information. And then repeat it, and then do the next measure. And just chip away at it every day.
It's a great tip, thanks.
Okay.
The second question is by Deb Devon, who asks, are there any good exercises you can suggest to add relaxation in the bow arm or hand?
Well, maybe I can show you something. A lot of students will come to me and I will see tension in their bow hand, maybe this peak or a collapsed pinky and rigid fingers. And then when they start to play, I see this the whole time. And the first thing that I want to say to you is to let the bow weight be held by the violin. So if you look at my pinky, I come down curved, it's relaxed, I'm on the string. When I lift it, I feel the weight in that pinky. When I set it down, my pinky is then relaxed. I usually keep it on the stick, but if you tap your fingers, you're completely relaxed, and the weight of the bow is being held by the violin. And then you can create artificial weight by adding the weight of the arm at the frog, or as you work your way towards the tip, you'll have to start feeling the thumb go up and the first finger come down, so you can get the stick into the hair or into the string here. But you don't have to add a tremendous amount. As you bow from here, you add a little more, a little more, a little more. I show an exercise where you start with all four fingers on the string, totally relaxed, like tap your fingers. Then as you bow, you lift your fingers. Pinky goes up, then your ring goes up, and your middle finger goes up. Then you turn it around and you add. So you're teaching that rolling sensation or the transfer of weight from all four fingers to the first finger and then back to all four. But again, I let the instrument support the weight of the bow.
Wonderful. So the third question is by Carl Silva, who asks, what exercise do you use to stretch your fourth finger so it is not flat?
Well, I don't try and stretch anything that concerns me. That would create tension. I don't believe you can make your hand size much larger. So what I do is I adjust the hand position. And really, it's